Hi, as is widely known, many Sound Blaster 16 cards suffer from the hanging note bug, which causes an external MIDI device to play a continuous high-pitched sound, or sometimes random notes that are not part of the music. In this video, we are going to replace the DSP chip on the Sound Blaster 16 with a new bug-free version. Okay, so this will be possible thanks to the people on the VOGONS forum thread, the Sound Blaster DSP project. It was started back in 2016 by Stamast, and over the years it has grown to more than 50 pages. There's also a link to a GitHub page where you can find firmware versions from 4.04 up to 4.16. And there's also an unofficial version, 4.17, that adds a few more improvements. There's a very good article on the VOGONS Wiki that explains the two different types of the hanging note bug and the versions affected by it. I'll post the link in the description below. As you can see here, the DSP version is 4.04. Now, this version doesn't have the hanging note bug, but I still want to replace it with the newest firmware. Now, I have this other Sound Blaster 16, which is the version CT2230, and as you can see here, this DSP version is 4.11, which should have the hanging note bug. But according to the VOGONS Wiki, that doesn't occur if the bus interface is version 1747. So that explains why I couldn't find the hanging note bug when I was testing this card. Side note here, in this particular version of the Sound Blaster 16, the OPL3 is integrated in the bus interface. So just keep in mind that the OPL3 has nothing to do with the hanging note bug. That only affects external MIDI devices and not the OPL3 functionality. Anyway, I still wanna do the upgrade and replace the chip on this card, but that's gonna be on a different video. We're gonna focus now on the CT1740. Now, for this process, you're gonna need a socket. The socket is the PLC 44, obviously the surface mount, and it looks like this. And you're gonna need an Atmel AT89C52. Okay, so to program the new chip, you're gonna need one of these programmers. You can easily find them on Amazon. They actually have a newer version of this, which is all black. It's kind of expensive, so if you can find one of these on eBay maybe, that's gonna be a good choice. And that's the brand. That's the model number. That's the TL8662 Plus. Okay, so just make sure the chip is inserted in the right direction. As you can see, the arrows are aligned, and also make sure the notch matches the picture in the case. So now let's program the chip, and we're gonna load one of the files. We're going to program the version 4.04. Now we're going to program the chip, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to start the process of replacing this DSP chip. This is the first time I do this, so I'm gonna use my hot air station, and I'm gonna cover all the area. So I'm gonna use these two tapes, aluminum foil and the Kapton tape, to protect everything around it. Okay, so that was scary. I was really concerned. At the beginning I wasn't using enough heat. I stopped for a while, and sorry I had to do it off camera because I couldn't get the right angles. So I hope the chip survive. Okay, so now we're gonna start the cleanup process, and hopefully everything is fine. And this is gonna sit right here. There's two options: to use the soldering iron with a very fine tip. So the other option is to use one of these low melting solder paste that hopefully won't melt this plastic. Okay, this paste is really hard to work with. It doesn't stick, so I made a mess here. Okay, so I'm ready to go here. These two already we know have a bridge. How about this? Oh my god. Yeah, not looking good. And this one is huge. Let's try to get rid of this blob right here. There you go. Okay. So we got some barbecue going on here. Okay, so I was able to take care of all the bridges and the solder blobs, and well, it doesn't look great, but this is the first time I do this kind of job using a hot air station and soldering paste. So for the time being it's gonna stay like this. So let's try it out and see if it works. Okay, so I programmed 4 different chips. One of them has the same version of the original chip, which is 4.04. Then we have version 4.11, which has the hanging node bug. We're gonna try to replicate that. Then we have the 4.16, which was the last version of the DSP chip. And then we have the 4.17, which is the unofficial version, and we're gonna test that too. Okay, so we're ready to start testing. Let's start with the original chip and let's see if it survives. Okay, so now we're going to test version 4.11 and let's see how it goes. I ran the diagnostics utility tool of the Sound Blaster 16 to see what version of the DSP chip was being detected, and in this case it's good, it's 4.11. not to be confused with the version of the software itself, which is version 4.04. You can see it at the end of the first line, on the top of the screen. Okay, let's stop for 1 second. that was crazy. I never seen this before. Wow, incredible. That bug is something else. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so now we're going to test version 4.16, which is the latest known version of the chip of the DSP. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see here, it's being detected as version 4.16, so that's good news. Okay, so this is the last chip we're going to be testing. It's the unofficial version 4.17. It has some improvements that I'm not familiar with, so you can find more information about it on the GitHub page, which you're gonna find in the description below. And there you have it. version 4.17. Nice. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoy it. It was fun to make. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and you can also support the channel on ko-fi.com. I'll post the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.